What is your favorite Chucky death, meaning how he dies in the franchise? And what is your favorite Chucky kill, meaning who he kills? So the thing with Chucky is you can do a lot to him. And because he's kind of just this soul that keeps going into other bodies, you can really fuck him up. And in some of these movies, they really fuck him up and they kind of puss out on other ones. But there's a lot you can do with that.
There's a lot of creative space there.
Yeah. So what is your favorite Chucky death?
I got to go with part 1. Yeah. It was
I'm right there with you, buddy.
It was the most humanistic.
I'm right there with you.
I when he's coming across like with this one eye out and I actually felt like he is inside of that body, charred to death, and yeah, it was.
So I'm gonna. Can I please go through it because I have it beat for beat.
Yeah.
So this is right near the end of part 1. Karen and Andy, they light up the fireplace and seemingly burn Chucky to death.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, so this is let's pretend you're a new person watching this. It's the first time you've watched it, right?
Yep.
You don't know what's going to happen. They burn the doll alive and you're like, okay.
He's screaming.
He's oh yeah, right. And it's brutal.
Yeah.
And it's like a human being being roasted alive. And you're like, okay, it's over. And the music, it slows down, the tension's gone. And then we see that shot of the charred like mark on the carpet and Chucky's body is suddenly not there.
Yep.
And bam, Chucky is not dead. He's still alive. And we get this amazing, fully animatronic charred Chucky doll walking towards Karen and Andy. It just looks so fucking good.
Inexorable. Like it's
that
it won't
fucking
be
effect.
stopped. Yeah.
It's exactly like a Terminator moment. It's literally a Terminator moment. It's like Terminator coming out of the fire after that explosion in Terminator 1, right? It's like borderline unstoppable. Karen then locks herself and Andy in the bedroom, and Chucky starts stabbing through the door trying to get at them. She grabs the detective's gun and pulls Andy out into the hall, and this right here is Chucky. This horrific, he is he has a force of nature at this point. She starts shooting him and he's just not stopping. Right. And she shoots him and he keeps walking. She shoots again and she blows his fucking arm off. And then she aims and boom, blows his fucking head off. And you're like, okay, she got him. Yeah. It's over. But no, fuck you. After the doll has finally stopped moving. Okay, so like she blows off the arm, she blows off the leg, she blows off the fucking head. So the head gets blown off. It's still walking towards her, and she has to literally blow off pieces of it to make the fucking thing fall. So then the thing is like writhing on the ground, just this like dismembered body, and she unloads a few more rounds and it finally stops. And you're like, okay, now it's over. So then Norris's partner shows up and the tense music stops and you take a fresh breath and you're like, okay, now we're going to hit the wrap up, the end of the movie. And Norris is like, the kid was right. Chucky is alive. And his partner is like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, go see for yourself, but don't touch it.
Yep.
We get this great shot when he like slowly walks up to the head. And it's actually tense where you're like, is that fucking thing going to come alive?
Are those teeth going to like open up again?
Right. And it's because I think the face is just kind of like,
yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, just be careful. And it subverts your expectations because you're expecting it to just come alive, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And he grabs it and he's like rattling it and he's like, this thing's deader than a fucking doorknob. Like, and he brings it in. He starts chastising his partner. He's like, look, the thing's dead. He like puts it up on like a shelf. And then bam, Chucky's fucking body, the body that was lifeless body on the ground, bursts through like a vent in the wall and then starts like strangling his partner. Meanwhile, the head now is reanimated and starts talking again and is like, kill him, strangle him. And they end up throwing the doll and the head onto the wall. And what a fucking horrific, like, such a cool effect. It looks real.
Yeah.
The doll's face is still moving while the body is moving separately and trying to right itself and stand up.
Yep.
And then Karen yells at Norris, who gets the gun again in his hand, and she tells him to shoot Chucky in the heart. He blasts the doll, and this giant spray of blood just paints the fucking back of him. And it is such a satisfying spray of blood where you're just like, oh, you fuck. Now you finally fucking got it, right? And then we get the body slumps over. We get a close-up of the head. This is so perfect. The dismembered head, still talking, says, in Brad Dourif's voice, "Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?" And then the voice eerily cuts back to the actual good guy doll voice, and it's like this extended, eerie, just version.
"Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?"
It's perfect, dude. That wanna play. It's as if his soul left the doll at that moment.
So we can agree on one thing tonight.
It's a perfect Chucky death. That's the best one. I almost picked part 2. Honorable mention to part 2. I think part 2 is really good too. Yeah, part 2 also, like, it's just so, part 2 is very over the top. It's like part 2 is the big budget version of that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Putting the hose into him and blowing him up was a little bit.
Right. Part 2 is the big budget version of this. Yeah. I just think this death, it perfectly nails how almost nigh unkillable Chucky is. Right. And this sequence is probably the most horror film the franchise ever was. Yeah. Is this. That charred fucking doll coming towards you and you not being able to stop the thing, even after you blow it to pieces, and it's still the head talking when it's not attached.
Right.
Oh.
It's good.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. And your favorite kill in the entire franchise?
Favorite kill, actually, is one from Curse of Chucky.
I was trying to think of which one this is.
Yeah, it's the one where I think it's the father, where he takes the hammer and he smacks basically his lower jaw.
His whole like jaw just comes off.
But it's part of his neck as well. Like he's got his exposed like trachea underneath.
Yeah.
When we're watching these movies,
it's kind of jarring.
It is.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere where it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a little
because the priest's death was cartoony. Right. This feels like grounded, where you're just like, whoa.
Yeah. All of these horror movies that we watch, the deaths there are expectation of what a movie death would be, but they're not realistic. Even when they try to do it realistic, for good reason, they don't do it realistic. This one felt a little too, oh my God. Like, it didn't just knock his head off like you would expect with a hammer blow. Right. No, it kind of like tore part of his face and neck off.
Brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
And exposing, like, it was like, ugh. Like, it was very jarring.
Say hi to the little woman for me.
There's some visceral kills in that one though, because like the knife in the eye for the sister. Yeah.
So that was my favorite one because it was just, I was not expecting that. And when I saw it, I was like, is he actually dead? First of all, because maybe he survived that. Maybe he didn't, but
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's my favorite. Yourself?
My number one is, I've already said it, is the campy kill in the factory where the poor worker gets the Chucky doll eyes just jammed into his eye sockets, and he literally becomes a living, like, a human doll. It's so over the top.
If this doesn't tell you exactly the difference between, I go for the most horrific one. Justin goes for the most
fun.
campy and
fun.
stupid and fun
That's
one.
the most fun one.
Yep.
It's so stupid. It's so over the top.
Good
Yeah.
call. Good choice.